What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to take a look at this brand new 2024 Toyota Sequoia TRD Pro. Now this one is finished off in exclusive Terra, which is exclusive for 2024 TRD Pro model years. Now underneath the hood, of course, you're going to see that iForce Max, which is a twin turbocharged hybrid V6 engine. It's a 3.4 liter with 437 horsepower, 580 pound-feet of torque, paired to the 10-speed automatic transmission. Of course, this has a four-wheel drive transfer case as well. And the electric motor itself has 48 horsepower with 184 pound-feet of torque. Curb weight is around 6,100 pounds. Max towing capacity is 9,000 pounds. And for off-road capabilities, approach angle is 23 degrees, minimum ground clearance is 9.1 inches, and then departure angle is 20 degrees. Now this TRD Pro comes in around $81,000. So let's move on to the styling. This is a super bold family SUV. Right front and center, take a look at the massive Toyota name written out. It is bigger than my arm. That is just massive. We have those three amber lights above that, forward-facing camera, the LED light bar right in the center, and just a massive amount of huge grille openings to provide maximum cooling to the engine. You're gonna see some more body color down below that. We have all of your parking sensors, LED lights down below. You can see the black in the lower portion of the front bumper and some nice functional intake ducts on the farthest side. Now take a look at the LED headlights. You have a massive daytime running light running throughout them, and then you can see the quad beam for those LEDs. It's a pretty aggressive looking vehicle. It certainly looks cool, especially in the TRD Pro. And then up on the hood, we have some really sharp, bold lines all the way towards these trim pieces where you see TRD Pro written into it. So really muscular looking. And then at the side, take a look at this camouflage type design for the texture in these fender flares. It's a unique design for the TRD Pros. And then down below, you're gonna see these off-road tires with these satin black TRD Pro wheels. These are BBS wheels and they are forged. They're also 18 inches in diameter. And then behind that, we can see the TRD tuned suspension with those red TRD upper control arms. Now, if we take a look at the styling on the side, you can see some more sharp lines for the front fender, just giving it that aggressive design. And then it matches in back. Kind of gives it a wider look as well for that off-road look. You can see body color on the door handles, black mirror caps, all blacked out for the windows, and then you can see the black roof rails. A nice set of metal running boards as well with TRD stamped into it. And then in back, you can see the body colored spoiler coming off with the third brake light. You can actually open this glass independently by just pressing this button. So that is a really cool touch just to gain more access into the interior. We got blacked out Toyota logo, Sequoia all written out. Nice set of LED taillights that kind of mimic those headlights, parking sensors, black trim, and then a dual exhaust on the left side. Now we of course do have remote liftgate. We can automatically press that button and it will lift up. Now with the third row folded down, you can see how it kind of doesn't have the most space for a full-size 3-row. They're kind of in the way a little bit, so it's just a little bit different design. But you can pull these handles and at least slide them forwards and back, just to kind of depend on how you're going to want to use them. Now you can also grab this lower tray that is in the floor and actually put this up right here, and you can see how it's going to be lined up with the bottom floor. And then if I continue lifting it up, cargo net is a little bit in the way, but once we get it up here, you can see how we can flip this forward and you have more of a shelf up here with cargo down below. So they did do a unique design to where, well, these are definitely in the way a little bit, gives you a little bit better storage solution. Now, another thing you can do when we remove this panel and just lower it back down out of the way or just put it over on the side, we have automatic buttons right here that you can press and automatically lift up the third row. You just press it for about a second and they're both going to go up. And then from there, you can still grab these handles, slide them forwards and back, depending on how you want to do it. Now, let's take a look at the second row. This is a full-size SUV. And if we find the button, let's take a look at what we have going on. So the interior, you have a really nice black leather interior. There's gonna be manual sunshades on the door panels, all red stitching, more storage, and a really cool contour throughout. And then check out these seats, finished off in the smooth black leather. You're gonna see more of the red stitching and a really cool camouflage design within the perforated leather sections. And you have those armrests right in the center. Moving on to the rear seats, I can grab the second row recline lever and pull this completely out of the way, and you have a pretty good step to hop in the back. Now I'm 5'11", so let's see what this is like. You do have handles right here and here to slide these forwards and back. And then we have an automatic button right here to go ahead and recline these. Now with the second row up, My head is hitting the ceiling just a tad, so at 5'11", it's not bad back here. Let's go ahead and pull this seat down into the position it would be in. Legroom is really good, and we do have a climate control vent up here along with a dome light, and there's 2 cup holders, and then you're also going to have a sunshade. So overall, this actually is a pretty good back seat. Just headroom, you might be bumping the ceiling just a little bit. And then if we go ahead and move right on to the second row, which you can climb into, we'll get this seat back to where it was, and I can go ahead and close the door. So this is a pretty roomy car. You have an adjustable design for that armrest, and if I pull that recline lever, I mean, this is definitely where it's at. You have plenty of headroom now, the awesome panoramic roof, more air vents up here, more dome lights, grab handles, and good legroom as well. Now in the center, we have a 3-prong outlet. You're also going to see 2 USB ports. We have climate controls. We have your fan speed, temperature, all the screens, and then more vents down here with 2 cup holders, and then the nice walkway. So it's a pretty good second row. And then now hopping into the driver's seat, this is a really cool place to be. The door panel is going to be finished off pretty much the same as you saw in back. You see the black leather and then all the red stitching. And then take a look at the passenger side. We have Toyota written out on this cool plastic material, a nice soft touch material as well. And then the driver and passenger seat are finished off just like you see in back. You got TRD Pro, and then you can see that cool camouflage design on the perforated leather and more red stitching. More red stitching in the center. You have a TRD shift knob with the red leather and black leather, and a red TRD start button. So firing up this hybrid motor, it does sound pretty good. And then taking a look at the steering wheel, we have the perforated leather, a red stripe up on top with TRD down below. You can see cruise control settings on the right with distance pacing, lane keeping, all those buttons. And then on the left side, we have some audio controls as well. Now the screen is a nice digital layout. You can see we have the tack right in the center. And then on the far right, I love how you can view your turbo boost gauge as well as the electric motor. And then if we take a look at the dash, pretty squared off with that massive screen right in the center. We have the full screen navigation. All of your audio controls will come up with your different sources, Bluetooth. You can view some trip information, history, and then vehicle alert, if anything. And then going under settings, you have a few things you're able to view. Now, if we toggle this camera icon, we've got a pretty neat 360 camera view. However, if I go ahead and pop it into reverse, we have our backup camera top down, and then I can toggle on this left side, the front view, and then a few other camera angles, which is really useful, especially when you're off-roading. You can play with those guidelines as well. Going into drive, of course, that will automatically switch. Now we have our climate controls down below that, as you can see, dual zone rear as well, heated seats, ventilated seats, more of those controls. This gets a locking differential, trailer button as well, brake hold, wireless phone charging. And then down below is all of our drive modes. So we have the downhill assist with crawl control, we have multi-terrain select, and then we even have normal street driving modes, which will come up on the screen. We have the sport, normal, and eco mode. 4-wheel drive low on the transfer case, and then I like how you can open that up for more storage and cup holders. Storage down below that, you can open this up for even more storage, pull that one out, and then plenty of room in the center for snacks and your CB radio. All right guys, so we are setting off now on the trail. So what I really like with the TRD Pro is the fact that this suspension is so good off-roading. We're going about 20 miles an hour just on a nice dirt path, and it does not feel like I am hitting the trails. Hitting this bump, you can feel it, but this thing is so composed. Picking up the speed a little bit, it really is at home when you're hitting the dirt and off-pavement circumstances. And I love the hybrid power plant because slowly cruising, the EV mode is propelling you. You can feel that electronic motor. When you need a little bit more power, of course, that engine kicks in with those turbos. So it's just nice to drive. It's just a really smooth vehicle. Of course, we've driven these on-road as well. But when you're off-roading with it, it just feels so at home. Now, as we enter the trails, while this is pretty big, I'm gonna go ahead and fold in these mirrors, and we're just in 2-wheel drive. But as of right now, I can easily pilot my way through the woods pretty well. And now let's take a look as we come down a really steep section. I've gone ahead and put it into 4-wheel drive high just for the heck of it, but it does a really good job even with some articulation. The ground clearance is perfect. I mean, that is an absolute cakewalk. and no shortage of traction or power just to now come up this steep hill. It is just easy. I mean, for being a big vehicle, it's super easy. And I like how as we get onto a few rocks right now, once again, it's got the power, it's got the traction, and the four-wheel drive system is going to give me all the traction to just continue going up a really steep hill. We are about 10 or 15 degrees, and I can easily just muscle up it. You can hear that sound too. It's a pretty beefy sounding 6-cylinder. And if I turn my camera on, I can take a look at all my view and easily navigate as I get to the next section. So now moving on to four-wheel drive low, we have the new camera angles and everything. And this is where, you know, it's pretty impressive how such a big vehicle can do a lot. The ground clearance and everything definitely does it nicely, avoiding the tree and like that. I mean, this is a soccer mom vehicle, a family SUV, and we have all the tech and everything to do this. And if I go ahead and hit the crawl control, I can put that into one of the speeds, and the car is going to slowly crawl up the hill for me. I can slow it down a little bit and just use that. Super quiet too. Crawl control is way better than it used to be. You don't hear anything, just a slow speed crawl. If I want to slow it down even more, I can adjust the dial. Or if I want to crank it up, we can go even faster. And the Sequoia just crawls like nothing. So back into 4 high, we can pick up the pace a little bit. And once again, we're still crawling up a pretty steep hill. And it just walks up. I'm liking this. Now, this is a big vehicle, so navigating some trees, of course the parking sensors help out a little bit. But it's not too bad to navigate it through the tighter trees here. And we are looking good. We're at a pretty good angle. You can take a look at that. Hard to see a little bit, but coming down to a steep section and then climbing back up. All the drive modes really help out when you're in 4 low. But that right there is so cool. With the hybrid, you have so much more power than the old V8 from back in the day. I know there's still a lot of people who aren't too sold on going for a smaller engine with a hybrid. It is so much better. Like, you could not do that in the V8. You can actually rip this thing around. So especially if you have a lot more open space, trail riding or like dune riding, I mean, look at this thing. It can conquer it all. And I love once you're back on flat, like literally, this handles so well. It's like a sports car on the road, but in the dirt. This thing is fun off-roading. I mean, this is also meant for Baja driving, and you can totally tell. Yeah, this thing is a beast. Brakes are pretty adequate as well. Yeah, not much to complain about. The Sequoia TRD Pro doing what it is built to do. We are definitely moving, going 30 miles an hour, and the suspension takes it. Even with this heavy curb weight, it absolutely takes it. Man, Toyota is building some amazing family SUVs. This thing is a blast. And then if we want to hit the brakes again and crank a turn, it's just so composed. Now if we go back into 4-wheel drive low as we wrap up the test drive, only takes a second or two, everything is engaged. Back into drive, if I hit multi-terrain select, you can adjust from sand, mud, rock, and an auto mode as well. So like, hey, you have all that type of technology for whatever kind of crawling you're gonna wanna do. And then of course those cameras. So you can go from Baja driving to slow speed crawling, and this thing just does everything. And as far as normal driving goes, of course, smooth on-road, creature comforts, everything you're gonna want, this car has a downhill assist. And I think if you're looking for an off-roader that can do it all, this thing's a beast. But that is gonna wrap it up now for the Toyota Sequoia TRD Pro. This thing is sweet. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content. I'm gonna keep ripping around in the TRD Pro and have some fun, but I will see you all in the next video.